I always have a little bit of fear that if I don't bond with him enough, that will be our relationship in the future. And I don't know if I probably am not alone. I think everybody fears that their son will ultimately become that type of, adversarial figure for them. And no one wants that as a father. So as he, every night before we go to bed, no matter what type of day we have, right now he's so forgiving. And so I use that to my advantage because again, I want to deserve every hug, every kiss, every, I love you, daddy. I want to deserve all of those things.
What's going on, family? Welcome to another episode of the Fatherhood Village podcast, the official home for proud fathers and mentors. Hey, we're glad to have you in for another episode. Join myself and Kev Hick, man. We're going to get into a pretty good topic. I'm going to announce that here soon. But first, Kev, man, how's it going, man? What's going on with you?
Man, I'm chilling, brother. We locked down. Or we lockdown goes into effect tomorrow at midnight, and it ain't really a whole heap of shit to do around here. So we pretty much locked down now.
Yeah.
With the family straight, ain't nobody got the virus over here, and we just trying to keep it that way. Even though I got to go to work every day because I'm essential personnel, as are you.
Yeah.
But it's all good, baby. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Similar things are happening this way, as is the rest of the globe, pretty much, man. Just being an aircraft mechanic, for Anchorage Elmendorf Air Force Base. Yeah, they got to keep these planes, mission essential. So, we got to do our thing. But, the fam's good. Angel's been chilling at the house. She works at Orange Theory, and they pretty much shut all that down for at least another couple of weeks. So, but yeah, just trying to keep things live in the house and stay productive. Use the time wisely. Spend more time with the kids, being more involved with them, doing some things on my end in the office. Like I said, just being more productive, man. Just getting the most out of this time that we normally wouldn't have. And I got the little Corona fro, the lockdown quarantine fro going on. I need to cut this thing.
Yeah, check my box out, man. I'm out here, bro.
Okay.
Check my forehead shiny, box all messed up, man. Yeah, it's rough out here, brother.
Yeah, it's bad, and I'm glad that I took it on myself to learn how to cut my hair a while ago. So never would I imagine I would need it at this capacity, but I'm glad I can touch myself up without thinking I'm gonna mess myself up. But yeah, man, these are the times where you're at the mercy of what's in your surroundings, pretty much, and lack thereof, since we really can't be out and about that often. What can you do within the home to sustain your way of living? But yeah, that's probably for another episode. But for this episode, we're going to touch on spousal parenting styles. How you and your wife kind of get down when it comes to disciplining your child, teaching them, giving them the game and the gift on life. So I took it upon myself to kind of do a little test, a little sample size test online. It was something real quick, and just to see where I kind of lined up and find out some things about myself. Because I could say one thing that I feel, a way of parenting that I feel that I am. But then, I kind of wanted to see if there was some things I may be leaving out or may not be uncovering. So, after these series of questions that I answered, I was more on the authoritative side. I think it didn't really give me a 1 through 10 number, but based on the scale I'm reading, it's probably about a 8-ish, so I have a little bit more flexibility when it comes to being, democratic. having the kids have some say, or at least voicing how they feel. And I may take it in consideration. It may be some room for some adjustment, but for the most part, structure is needed. That's necessary for anything to happen in our household. So, and then far as flexibility, it told me I was more on the specific side when it comes to following like strict directions and plan things. Like, for example, bedtime. If it's at 8 o'clock, then it's gonna be at 8 o'clock. There's no ifs, ands, buts, or maybe. But it said I was closer to, I think, more like a 9 as opposed to more laissez-faire
Yeah.
and kind of passive and more standoffish, or like, yeah, I guess as long as it happens within an hour, or as long as they're asleep and I get to sleep, it's all good. So, but yeah, I'm more strict when it comes to that. Definitely have to abide by certain things, because I like routine, and I try
Yeah.
to get the kids on the same thing as well. And then lastly, as far as being permissive, I was far less lenient and more strict, and that was kind of 80% more strict, and there's room for added freedom at times, because I feel like if you're following A, B, and C, and you're going by things that I set forth, then I can let some things slide here and there, as long as the intent is met. Then I'm able to let some things go. What about you, Kev?
I'm a mix. One thing about my personality, for those who don't know, is I'm super balanced across every personality type. Every personality test I take is I'm damn near dead on mix of every single personality type. It's kind of creepy. And I've taken multiple personality types, multiple different structures. It doesn't matter. I'm a very balanced personality. With that said, my leadership style, and that's basically what we speaking about is leadership styles. Um, I'm a mix. I'm not as basic and balanced in my leadership style. My leadership style goes from under the right circumstances and everything going right, and my son being very obedient. Me adopting more of a coaching leadership style, and it basically goes up in authority. Based on how much I'm getting back from him. So I might start very coach like, or I'll take the coach leadership style and and mix it with a little democratic. You know what I'm saying? Just
Hmm.
I'm just kind of loose with it, but I'm never laissez-faire. And then I'll go into this autocratic when necessary, because my son is the type that tests the bounds, right? He's gonna
Yeah.
figure out exactly how much. Like if you tell him, hey man, I need you to stop stumping, he's not gonna stop stumping sometimes. He's just gonna stump super
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
just to see if you paying attention, like you got to stay on his ass. So I go from coaching and I go from democratic, to autocratic quite quickly sometimes, just because for him he needs that extra structure, and sometimes he needs the rigidity, and so I'm constantly adjusting. But if I had to guess, if I had to take like a gander, what would be 90%? I wish I would have got to take that test that you took. I want to take that. Send it to me when we get off of here. But
Okay.
I think authoritative is probably the mean of what I'm in here doing. I'm definitely authoritative most of the time, even when I'm coaching. The option is, always to go back to authoritative like that. That's kind of my back pocket. And then, like I said, I'm autocratic in my leadership style when my son needs it. Autocratic being, for those who don't know, meaning basically do what I tell you to do because I
Hmm.
said so. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Hmm.
damn said so.
Yeah. I think on that, because like I'm the same way, and obviously we make it known that we're the leaders, we're the head of household, we're the boss. Daddy, that's the pinnacle. You know when it's coming from daddy, it's real. But
Yeah,
not to undermine the wife, but you like I said, you're that authoritative figure, and it has to be very clear and explicit.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but at the same time, like I said before, there's times where I give reason to why it's this way, or why I said it this time, or why you keep these things off the staircase and why they need to be removed, why your room needs to be cleaned up. So there's times, when I have the time, or I have the clear mind to go and explain myself. But a lot of times, like you said, that's just the way it is. I don't need no lip, no feedback. We're
Right.
not here to discuss that right now, so.
Yeah. I found myself, a little bit shocked at some of the leadership styles that I have to adopt in raising my son. The one is 3, so he kind of gets the slide because he's still super cute.
Right.
So he don't be up to much, but my 5-year-old is crazy because I never would have assumed I had to be because I said so type of, I wouldn't even assume I would ever had to say that. I just always thought it sounded stupid when parents said it. As a kid, you don't realize it means because it's too complicated for me to explain to you at the moment. And I really don't
Hmm.
need to, I don't need to discuss this with you. It's not negotiable. So because I said so, like, you don't get that full context as a kid. You're just like, oh my God, they don't even have a reason. And
Yeah.
so I hate to go to that autocratic style, and like from the get go. So authoritative is where I'm comfortable, and it really helps because my wife, she is a mix of a few styles, but because she's a mom and they spend a lot of time with mom, they've figured out how to soften her blows and how to get around mom a little
Hmm.
bit, right? Again, I
Hmm.
don't admire her because she's strong, but it's got to be like, hey, I'm gonna tell you daddy, and listen, when I'm gonna tell you daddy, wait till your daddy gets all
You
of a
know it.
sudden, yeah, the fun and games is over with, so
Right.
for that, I have to be that because I have she that I need. I'm gonna tell you daddy, that has to mean something. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And so,
Hmm.
yeah, I can be democratic. And yes, I love to be a coach. That's my preferred method. But, you can't really negotiate with a 5-year-old sometimes. And, as he gets older, I will assume, hopefully, and my intent is to assume the coaching role a lot more because that's my preferred style, the democratic leadership role or the coaching leadership style. Um, but right now, kids, you can't protect them from themselves. And so you just got to make sure that you adapt to what they need at the time. We don't always get
Hmm.
it right, but he knows that if anybody's gonna be bad cop, dad's gonna be bad cop, and I'm all right with that. You know what I'm saying? As long as I give him plenty of love, I make sure that I'm as affectionate as a laissez-faire parent. You know what I'm saying? Just because
Yeah.
I have to match that autocratic or that authoritative leadership style with as much affection and as much love and warmth and nurturing as possible, so that he doesn't have a skewed perception of what I feel about him or who he is or his importance or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? We try not to trample his emotions. If he's upset, I let him be upset. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't try to
Hmm.
I don't smother him out, but I do have to have that authority. And so sometimes it can be a challenge to mix all of those things and the intent of being a loving father, and it can be very challenging.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough because obviously, like we spoke in the past, we had conversations before where you're going to exert too much energy and give off the wrong vibe if you're constantly on 10 at all times. If you yelling
Right.
at them every single moment of the day about every little small thing they do wrong, then they're going to miss the intent. You're going to come off, you know, too aggressive, and they just at that point they just know that daddy's just here to yell at me and I can't get anything right. Nothing's ever up to his standard. All I hear from him is yelling, raising his voice. And they don't want to be around that. No kid wants to, have that over them at all times. So they're going to be reclusive. They're going to stay back, and kind of love you from a distance in a way if it
Yeah.
continues. So yeah, it's just like you said, it's just trying to play it fair, play it balanced. And but I think because we both know kids, they're easy to love, and they recover very well from the ways that we may discipline them at times. So they're forgiving a lot of the times, and we just have to, after we discipline them, after the punishment's given, you have to kind of reel them back in. That you so I need you to understand why this happened this way, or why daddy expects this from you, or why this is the way it is. So that's the time to kind of give them that lecture, and it got to be short and sweet though, because You only got about 10 good seconds to get your point off. After that, they in the stars, like,
Yeah, them attention spans are short. Them attention
yeah,
spans are short.
yeah. So
You
yeah,
know,
definitely gotta be concise. Go ahead.
what I like to do is I put my son down every night before bed, and generally I take him upstairs and I get him in bed. And with my 5 year old, no matter what type of day we had, it's our time to reconnect, right? And
Hmm.
most of the time, again, I'm not yelling at him all the day or anything like that. But anytime that I've had to be rough with him, I carry that. I don't like that, man. I don't like having a distance between us. You know what I'm saying? Because I always imagine him. He's 5 now. I imagine him at 12 or 13 being a lot less forgiving. Being a lot less warm to whatever I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And like eventually, if I don't play this thing the right way, then we have a strained relationship. And I've known way too many brothers that were teenagers when I was a teenager, and they didn't like their pops just because he was authoritative or he was autocratic. And they were in that stage of life where they were rebellious and they had all of this testosterone and they didn't know what to do with it, and they felt like they was feeling themselves and they could fight or whatever it was. So I always have a little bit of fear that if I don't bond with him enough, that will be our relationship in the future. And I don't know if I probably am not alone. I think everybody fears that their son will ultimately become that type of adversarial figure for them, and no one wants that as a father. So as he every night before we go to bed, no matter what type of day we have, right now he's so forgiving, and so I use that to my advantage because again, I want to deserve every hug, every kiss, every "I love you, Daddy." I want to deserve all of those things.
Hmm.
And so I'm trying to be my best and I'm trying to adjust to his needs, adjusting because every year he needs a different leadership style. And every moment he may need one, but as he grows, it adjusts. So, at night we pray together. And after we pray, I give him a hug and I give him a long hug. And he loves a hug. And then I give him a kiss and then I high five him. And
Nice.
these were the things that he come up with. Like I say prayer and I say good night. He said, "No, I need a hug." So I give him a hug. I need a kiss. Sometimes you need two or three. And
Hmm.
obviously as he gets older, he'll give a damn a little bit less about the kiss. But right now, I'm
Yeah.
trying to soak up all the love because as he becomes a man, I'll have to love him in a more distant way, in a different way. So as
Hmm.
he's young and innocent, man, I reconnect us no matter what type of disciplinary day we had, no matter what type of leaders I had to be for him. We reconnect and I go back to just a loving, warm coach at the end of the day. And then I'll tell him, hey, you know what? I'm really proud of you. You did this today, and I like that. You made this adjustment when I asked you to. I appreciate that. I like the growth and the evolution that you're making in this area. You've been a good big brother today. And I always tell him, no matter how upset that daddy gets at you, you understand something that I'm upset at what you're doing and it's not you, and I tell him how great he is and how smart he is and how intelligent he is. And I speak life into him every night. And, that's how we reconnect because I don't know what sticks to him. You might say a thing and it'll go over your head. It won't mean much to you. So you don't pay much attention. You don't take inventory of it, but we never know what's sticking in a child's mind, right? What's creating their self identity. And so I always want to make sure I say more and not less just in case he's listening, right? And we never
Yeah.
know. And so at night, that's why anytime I'm sitting down with him and it's quiet and he's calm and he's like laying against me or he's cuddling with me or whatever he's doing, I take that as an opportunity to erase any negative vibe that he might have from the last time he got in trouble or, anything like that. I tell him how great he is. I speak this life into him. I prophesy over his life because I want him to be great in his own way. I want him to have a life that he can be proud of, but it takes me building in him that strength. And just because he might need a little spanking or, a talking to, or, a sit down or a timeout, I don't want those types of things to start to live in him as something else. I want them to be very quarantined to that situation and not to who he is or his identity. So I always reconnect with my child at the end of the day. And I think anybody listening to this would do well to get a routine for you and your child that reconnects you at the end of the day. It's very valuable.
Very, very much so. I agree. And we've been doing that probably not as often as every day, but I'm pretty sure at least a couple times throughout the week we'll sit there and we'll go over some things that happened throughout the week or that day, and it be kind of it's kind of a feedback session or like you said before, what they could work on, what they need to get better at, what obviously they're excelling at, and what you're proud of. They need to hear that, as you
Absolutely.
said, as you said. So yeah, and I think you got to mix it up a little bit. I know a lot of parents are busy and they work odd hours and things of that nature. You just got to find that time, whether it's in the morning, it's at night, throughout the day. You got to get that one on one with them. And depending on their age, you either have to do more listening or more talking. You kind of got to take control of the conversation, but just let your heart out. You know, uh, don't mask your emotions all the time. They need to see that you're real. That you're something that they can relate to on the emotional side, and I think that's where the trust expands. So, but yeah. So as far as the wife goes and her parenting style, from what I'm able to analyze, she's more lenient. She's a lot more patient and a bit more passive than I am. But she will snap. She will get at that ass.
Yeah.
I don't want to act like that's not real, because she will get there. But like I said, she'll pull that card when needed and say, "Hey, I'm gonna go get daddy. I'm gonna tell daddy. I'm gonna get daddy in here."
Yeah.
And a lot of times I hear it like, "Here I gotta go."
Yeah, like, man, I was chilling. I was
Yeah.
chilling.
I've been summoned. There go the bat signal. Oh shit. But but yeah, so I try to, calm myself before, I'm needed, and try not to I don't want to meet force with force all the time, and try to be a little bit more diplomatic with it, or have some diplomacy with it as far as my approach. And but obviously, if those tactics, aren't effective, we had to move on to plan B. But a lot of times, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt to correct their behavior, because I am a part of the discussion in the situation. That's kind of their second chance to, snap out of it, get in line, whatever
Yeah.
needs to happen.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
you
but
paying for the adjustment.
yeah, yeah. Well, what else about her? She's more comforting, more nurturing, as natural as a mother can be. And she likes to plan. She likes to plan things out. She's like the event planner. She likes to schedule things. I just kind of do impromptu type things and kind of spontaneous, as far as maybe setting the kids' day up. You know, because our kids are homeschooled, so I don't have like a strict, rubric or a strict curriculum that we follow. It's just whatever hits me at the time, we're gonna go for it. I feel like reading. I feel like doing flashcards. Or let's do some arts and crafts, some drawing, some putting blocks and Legos together. Let's teach them about money. This is a dollar bill. These are coins. These are the value. All that stuff. So it may not. It just be out of the spare blue. Like I don't know why it just hit me. So let's do it. And then she more or less she writes everything down. She has a whole whiteboard downstairs of the calendar days and whatever's going on that day at that time for the whole month, and things for that day. She got a separate board for chores and the agenda for that day as it pertains to her, the kids, whatever. And I'm like, I like to feel like I'm organized that way, but I'm not. Like, as long as it's either in my head or I put in my little Google calendar if I need some to
Bruh,
reinforce. Yeah, but I don't write everything down. I don't do that.
you talking about a Google Calendar. Man, I can't
But that's
I wouldn't even manage my own Google Calendar. I got a Google Calendar. I don't even know what the hell is on the Google Calendar. Ashley makes the Google Calendar that I look
yeah.
at.
So yeah, we share it. You probably share it with Ashley,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So that's like sometimes she'll hit me with that. I'm like, babe, can I do such and so? She'll be like, did you look at the calendar? Oh damn.
That's
You
exactly what
can't
I
even
hear.
give me you can't even give me an answer off top. I gotta go look at this calendar to find out if it's good or not. But so I guess it keeps us in line, and as far as our scheduling goes, if she's somewhere I can't get a hold of her and she put most of her stuff in there and I'm trying to set an appointment or something, I can know right off rip without having to contact her and get in touch with her. So that works. And I can see what the kids have coming up. They got a doctor's appointment, or they got some party to go to. What's those things called? The play dates.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good to know. But like I said, she's more structured in that manner, and where I'm completely not.
Well, Ashley, she's super structured. She's super organized. She keeps the calendar. She makes my appointments for my consultations. I don't ever know what the hell is going on. Every time you be like, "Yo, when we gonna record?" I think we keep it ask real quick. I don't even know what the hell going on. You know, this slot works well for us. I'm pretty much available here, so this works. But as far as Ashley's leadership style, I think she's a mix of polar opposites, which is interesting. She
Mm.
goes from autocratic, damn it, because I said so, to boy, democratic, warm, nurturing, laissez-faire. Like she
Yeah.
sometimes she's a fire-breathing dragon, and then other times she's the good cop. And
Yeah.
I guess the thing is because they're just not intimidated by by her. Even when
They're
she
not,
even when she
man.
raises hell, they just waiting for it to stop, but they don't really.
It's the same. I thought her stuff was at least semi-effective.
Hey,
It's not.
she scared me more than she scared him. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, she scared me more than she scared him. But like I said, she can raise all that hell, and they know she's serious, so they'll give her a little bit. But it's just like, yo, I tell you, daddy, and they like, you could just see it go off their face, like all the fun's gone. Oh crap.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
I gotta come in and man, shit, I thought we was good today.
Yeah.
So sometimes sometimes your authority style is basically you just playing a role, and you're in
Hmm.
character. And so when I approach it that way, it goes a lot better actually because I'm not emotionally invested in this, respect my authority type shit. I'm just all right, okay, okay, good cop, bad cop, cool. You know what I'm saying? And I'm
Mm.
really not invested in it emotionally. I'm not disciplined from a place of anger. And so I prefer to come in when called so I can play a character as opposed to observing, looking at it, really getting irritated as hell, and then coming from a place of being frustrated. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to discipline or even interject myself in those situations when I'm frustrated. Sometimes if I'm frustrated, I would almost rather just turn around and walk out the room than to like deal with it sometimes because hell, I'm
Mm.
so much larger, so much stronger, so much bigger. I can imagine how it feels to be 3 feet tall looking up at my big ass.
Yeah, a whole giant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't even deal with it from that perspective, man. I just come in and try to provide some order. So it's not an exact science, but the intent to love is never very far away from what I'm doing. And like I said, I know we was talking last time, and I was telling you, we got the Father Son Day, and I got all this stuff that I do with my son to make sure that he gets to see me outside of the house and see what manhood looks like outside of the house. A lot of that is you know to offset some of the discipline days that we have where we just seem to be steadily getting beat down by
Yeah.
him being difficult, or her being irritated, or me just not being in a mood or patient enough. I always want to make sure that he has as many good experiences as he has with me bad. So whatever the leadership a person might choose, especially a father, he needs to make sure that there's enough balance presented to his child that they have a full scope of what he wants for their life and what he wants for the relationship. I'm sorry, my damn voice. Um, uh, like I said, whatever your phone's still vibrating throughout the whatever it is.
What in the, all right, I'm gonna
I
turn this.
I can feel
Damn, why
I can
the
feel the
vibrate strong as
yeah
hell?
I
God
can
damn.
I feel the vibration over here.
It's on the floor on the carpet. I'm like, what?
But yeah, whatever the leadership style, you got to make sure that you present your child with enough balance that they can adequately assess, what you want for the relationship, as well as what you want for that particular encounter. I never want it to look like I don't love my son, even if I'm upset, even if I'm angry. I always want him to understand that Daddy loves me. He's upset. Daddy loves me. he's disappointed. Daddy loves me. He wants me to do something different than what I'm doing. But daddy loves me have to be there, because if your child
Mhm.
can't tell you love them, then it doesn't matter what type of leader you think you are, you're a shitty leader. Right. And
Yeah.
so you have to always make sure that the love is there. Now instilling a healthy level of fear in anybody you need to lead, is a tool. But at the same
Mhm.
time, I said, I want my son to see love and feel love for me, as he grows. I don't want him to ever think that I'm just there to, be mean or put him in a corner or spank his hand or, whatever we had to do to get him in line. I want him to think that, daddy would prefer not to do this. And maybe I can look at myself and figure out how to prevent this type of interaction. And that's what we're trying to do. Just teach your child to analyze themselves as closely as they analyze the things around them.
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing, especially with those parents, fathers having more than one child, um, the oldest, that's the one, obviously, that's the one you're trying to set an example with, obviously. So, and they know what they're doing. They know that the younger child or children are looking up to them. They're seeing them uh, as okay. If she's getting or he's getting away with it, then it's okay for me. And whatever they do, they're going to display the same behavior, whether it's right or wrong. And you have to, engrave in that oldest mind that hey, you're the example. There, you're taking the lead, whether you know it or not. So obviously, if you know this is wrong, and a lot of times they know it's wrong. Like you said, they're gonna push the limits. How far can I go before it's too far? So, and I have to explain with my oldest, to her that hey, Rashad is gonna do everything that you do. you know. So be mindful of that. And obviously she's only 4.5 and she's forgetful of that and she doesn't understand how much influence and power she has over him in ways that are kind of subconscious.
Yeah.
So, but it's something I subtly remind her of and give her, short examples of like, hey, you know, don't you want to protect your brother? Okay, so if you made a mistake, you don't want your brother to make the same mistake, do you? You don't want him getting yelled at for the same thing that you're doing. So obviously it may not go in and stay and be retained at all times, but the more she hears that, the more and the older that she gets, it'll correlate. It'll make sense. Like, okay, because at the same time, you don't want to make them seem as though they have to be a saint and they can't make mistakes. They can't do the wrong thing
Right.
uh, and have failure because that's a part of life. That's a part of being a human. Things are going to go wrong. But I just want her to understand that, hey, if I am in control of what I'm doing or I know a better way, let me do that and either show him or just, lead by that example whenever she's capable of doing that.
Yeah. What I always do is, because there's a fine balance between like putting pressure on your child, and I know this ain't what you was talking about, but there's a fine balance between putting pressure on your child to live for the people around them and training them subconsciously to live for others versus giving them a sense of responsibility over a younger sibling. Right. And so I'm always trying to make sure that I balance, how we present Noah's responsibility to his little brother. And sometimes it's say, hey, I don't think you could have been a better big brother today. You could have been a little bit nicer, you could have shared your toys a little bit more. Like, those are the basics.
Mm.
But then when he does good things for his little brother, we always have to, again, that positive reinforcement. You were like that when we sit down and I'm putting him in bed, and he always said to me, sit down. So I sit down on his little bed, and the bottom of his little bed where I sit down is like dented in, because that's where I always sit. And he's got a little kid bed, a little race car bed. So he say, sit down. And I always tell him, you were a good big brother today. If he was, I always point to the thing he did that, we want more of. And that positive reinforcement helps not only to prevent children from doing, some of the things that you don't want them to do, or motivate the younger sibling to do, but it also puts in their mind that, there is somebody else watching, and while I do live for me, I get a quite a bit of praise for, quite a bit of praise for, leading my little brother to do the right things. And so I'll sit down and I say, you did a good thing today with your little brother. He'll say, what? And I'll say, well, remember when this happened and you did this and Riley was watching? That was good. That was really good. You did a good,
Mhm.
I'm really proud of you. You're a really good big brother. And I give him an extra hug or an extra kiss or an extra high five. And, or when he protects his little brother, sometimes Riley, 3, he's places he's not supposed to be doing something, like he can sneak away and Noah
Mhm.
watches him like a hawk, and we're so proud that he has that mindfulness that he needs to protect his little brother, and if he can't stop him himself, he'll come get one of us, and he'll yell, he'll like almost frantically like get him, but we always make sure that we go out of our way to let him know that we're pleased when he does that. And that way, it's not us telling him what to do, it's him being what he would naturally be, and us just congratulating him for being what he is. You know what I'm saying? And so that kind of helps us in a way because sometimes if he's more concerned with his little brother and less concerned with his whims at the time, we can get better behavior from him on more difficult days, just adjusting his focus onto something else like his responsibility to his little brother, and at the same
Mhm.
time, just not putting pressure on him to live for his little brother and not making him feel
Yeah.
like we're more concerned with his little brother than him. It's a fine
Right.
balance, man. Like parenting takes strategy and it takes focus. You can't
Yeah.
willy nilly this shit. It really takes some effort, man, and some
All the time.
strategy. Yeah,
Yeah. And that's another thing that's a telltale sign of your parenting style and how you're coming off through their lens is I know for me, so Sade, my oldest, she it's like she's like his secondary alternative mother at times. So she'll try to discipline him the best way she knows. And that way, and that's reflective of how we discipline her. So she'll yell, she'll be kind of very aggressive with what she tells him to do or how she wants him to act. So she'll be like, Rashad, get off the stairs. You're playing on the stairs. Don't do that. Like she tries to sound like she's his mother.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like instead of like, child, you can't do that. You know what I mean? She'll take that role of a mother,
yeah.
and that's kind of her way of trying to obviously control the situation. But she's not tactful about it.
Right.
But obviously we're at fault because of that, and we get snappy, we're short. That's a direct reflection of what we're doing. So we got to watch that. When she's enacting that, then we got to know. Then we know at that time, okay, we doing this a little wrong, or
Yeah.
there's a different way to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, hell, Noah hit Riley today. It wasn't like hard. He just tapped him because like sometimes if I want to scare Noah, I'm like, give me that hand, or I'll tap him before he even realized he about to be tapped. Like, hey, I'm right here. You forgot I was here. You didn't think I was watching, but I don't.
Hmm.
I'm not hitting him like I'm actually hitting him. It's like it's almost like you're touching him real quick. Like, hey, yo, I'm here, and
Hmm.
he just feels the touch. It's not actually a strike. So we was in the living room and he ran up on Riley and he touched Riley. He didn't hit him hard. He did what I did. He just touched him real fast.
Yeah, he just jolted like.
Yeah, and it's literally it's strategic. I'm doing it on purpose. I'm just touching him like, I got you. But he thinks it's like something, but I'm not really striking him. I'm just letting him know physically I'm here. I can touch
Hmm.
you. And it kind of calms him down quick. So he ran up on Riley and he like he like did it to Riley. And it just was funny because from where Ashley was sitting, she was like, "Oh my God, what'd you just do that for?" Because she didn't realize what was happening, but like he didn't really get it. He just like he did it what I did. Like I just tapped him like, "Yo," so he tapped his little brother because he got that from me, and so I'm like, okay, I gotta make sure that I'm very strategic with those because if I mistap him or I actually strike him or if I get him good, then he gonna be getting Riley good, because they're gonna
Yeah.
mimic everything that you do, and so it's so crazy that you do have to map out everything, and you have to plan every move, and everything has to be strategic. But
Mhm.
we don't whoop a lot of ass in this house, but ass whoopings are on the table. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so he doesn't do. Only time we even consider something like that is when he's greatly endangered himself or his little brother. But that those are very few and far between. Those are rare cases. Like today, he tried to put a cover over his brother's face. He didn't realize that, hey, that's suffocation. You can't do that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm.
I didn't whoop him. I
Yeah.
just let him know, hey, we don't put nothing over his face and we don't put nothing around our necks. You understand me? It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
daddy, I understand you. I'm like, cool then. But it's one of those things where your weaknesses will be mirrored to you through your children, and they're
Mhm.
undeniable. There's not a whole lot of space for blame when you are the person that they learn from. And so you have to be very strategic, very tactful in how you approach parenthood, because it will come back to either bite you in the ass, or benefit you at some point. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah. And I think because I'm big, just like you are, on safety and protecting them from their own self, right? So I think if I can at least eliminate a lot of my frustration in other areas and maybe only be more aggressive when it comes to their safety and them, you know, potentially hurting themselves or someone else, I think they'll get the message like, okay, he snaps when somebody is in danger, you know what I mean, of being hurt. So if I could kind of limit what I'm more uh I guess aggressive about in that aspect, I think they'll kind of look at things a little differently. Like, okay, I know when he snaps, I'm doing something totally wrong that could hurt somebody. So, if I can limit that, because obviously with Sade, she gonna do exactly as she sees or as she hears. So that's, like I said, just that angle of attack that you take when it comes to discipline and punishment. Just just do it like you said. Just be tactful about it. You got to know that, hey, I'm yelling at you because you could have hurt yourself. And sometimes I get a little dramatic, like, yo, you could have broke your neck. When obviously, and sometimes it's like, nah, I don't think she would have broke her neck, but maybe she'd have hurt her arm. But she got to know it's real. And like, dang, a broken neck? Yeah,
You
yeah,
try,
you could have snapped your neck off.
yeah,
Oh shit. So they thinking like, man, my whole neck could have been off,
you want your damn head to roll down the street. So
Yeah.
you got to
You
try to
knock your teeth out. Yeah.
trying to figure out how to
Yeah.
scare them into being safe. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my challenge at the moment. You don't want to give them like a nightmare or some kind of gruesome imagery, but you definitely want to scare the shit out of them so they don't do that again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right
And
now.
she knows it's real because I was deployed and she was hanging on her mother. And in our old home, we had kind of like step downs into other rooms.
Hmm.
And so they were kind of in between that step down that she was kind of hanging and grabbing on to Angel. And I think she had turned and Sade slipped off or something happened and she went backwards and fucked her head up. Like
Hmm.
she had got like a stitch or two, like she was
Hmm.
leaking. You know what I mean? So now that happened, obviously at every point in time we try to prevent any of that. But now that that's happened, it's real now. Like, yo, you really got me. Do you remember that? You know what I mean? And we'll remind her, like, yo, this stuff is real. These are why we tell you these certain things. These are why some of these rules and some of these ground rules are in place.
That
So
same
you
thing.
won't hurt yourself. Yeah.
Same thing happened to Noah. Bullshit, man. Kept running around, playing, falling, doing all this stuff like blind, like to fall off the bed backwards, and just acting, crazy. He gets kind of wild when he's energetic. And man, he kept going around this table, and we kept saying, "Leave that table alone. Don't go around that table." Now we got them damn rubber corners on every corner of every table that we have in our house.
Yeah.
One rubber corner had gotten knocked off somehow in our bedroom where he wouldn't normally be
Yeah.
anyway. And
We
we
had those too.
we
Yep.
had the rubber corner on that one, but that one just kept falling off. The adhesive wasn't right. Right. So
Hmm.
he's in our room. Ashley look at him, yo. First of all, it's a privilege to be in mommy and daddy's room, and you better get
Hmm.
calm your ass down. He's like, he chilling. Then he goes into back being wild. she turns around for a split second, and she's literally on the bed, so she's like right there, and he done fell off the bed and hit his head on the corner of that damn table.
Shh.
Like, but he hit his head like by the corner. He didn't catch the corner. He hit it by the corner. But hell,
Okay.
he needed 5 stitches in his head, right across,
Wow.
right above
He came in
it.
hard.
Yeah, right
Yeah.
above the eye. He needed like 5 stitches, and
Mm.
that was traumatic for him because it didn't hurt him. Like he cried because he was bleeding. He was trying, but it didn't bleed a lot. Yeah, it was just the perfect spot where it didn't bleed a lot. It wasn't. It didn't hurt him too bad. It seemed like he cried because he was scared, and it probably stung a bit. But I get the call from work. You got to come home. We got to handle this shit. So I go home. He keeps sticking his finger in the hole, and it's a hole. Like you can see his little.
A whole
Yeah,
hole.
yeah. He
Yeah.
got a hole. And so I took him to the children's hospital, whatever, and he had to get stitched up. And I remember he was scared, and so I always do this thing where I tell him, I say, who are you? And he answers. He says, I'm brave. I'm a lion. I'm courageous.
Mm.
I'm smart. I'm a king. And I say like 30 different things. And so
Nice.
he likes say I'm a king, I'm a lion, I'm courageous, I'm capable, I'm unstoppable. So that's what he said. I'm unstoppable, I'm courageous, I'm capable, I'm a king, I'm unstoppable, I'm courageous, I'm capable,
That's
so
dope.
we,
That's dope.
we was at the hospital and he was nervous, he was scared, and all them people start coming in and I say, listen, son, who are you? And he started telling me who he is and he started calming down. But from this day, every time I say, "Hey, remember when you hit your head at that? When you remember you bust your head open and you had to go to the hospital? Remember that?" And he like, "Yeah." Sit your ass down. And
Yeah.
I ain't gotta I ain't gotta tell him that.
Right.
Sit your motherfucking head
Exactly.
down. And
Yeah.
so that experience, while it was traumatic for us, especially as parents, man, and we were so terrified and making sure he was straight and he didn't have no cracked skull, or you don't know, man.
Mm-hmm.
But they
Mm-hmm.
was digging it all in that hole, trying to make sure he didn't have no divots in his skull. But he was
Yeah.
fine, and now he's learned from that gravity is a thing, and the corners are real, and we're put them damn rubber things on the corner for a reason. He don't take them off anymore. You know,
Yeah. Our son did that.
yeah,
That was his objective. Take all of them off.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I had to whoop him with one of the long strips one time.
Hmm.
Uh, but I just hit him on the leg, make sure he felt it. And was like, oh, okay, we all right. So that's what you do when I take them off. Let
Yeah,
me leave them on,
yeah.
so you ain't got no weapons out here.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, man. But now I think that's dope that you guys had deployed that affirmation in that time, and for him to kind of find that strength, that inner strength, and to get through that. But like I said, that was great on your part. As a
Appreciate it.
father, that's what that's what it's all about right there, man. So, um, but yeah, but to wrap this whole thing up, man, just when it comes to parenting styles, I think as long as we identify the strengths and weaknesses and we know how to complement each other's style in different ways, obviously to execute what we want the end result to be, and it's all a learning curve, man. It's something we're doing every day, learning.
Yeah.
They're figuring. I mean, it's a two-way thing. They're learning from us, we're learning from them. The
Hmm.
relationship is still building, we're still figuring things out, they're figuring things out. So it's ongoing for nearly forever.
And
you know
sometimes you get that shit wrong, and you got to make it right with the next day. But
Yeah, and then just taking accountability of it, and that's one thing that my wife and I have been doing, man. Just I'll sit back and I'll be observing how she is handling this in a specific situation, and I kind of like, I don't think that went over too well, and I'll go over to her, hey, babe, I think you should, X, Y, Z. Once you go upstairs and talk to her one on one, and then she'll call me out. It won't be like we'll try not to make it to where the kids see us you know, battling about how we should go about it. We'll just kind of carry a private conversation. Hey, won't you do this over here? Won't you take him downstairs and talk to him? Okay, all right. Don't you go apologize and okay, all right, you right. So
Yeah.
we'll try to check each other a little bit, and but at not at the expense of they see us in disagreement, and we kind of embarrassed about us disagreeing about how we should be disciplining our
Yeah.
children at that time. So we're tactful about that, but like I said, we're all just trying to figure it all out, and grow the relationship,
Hmm.
and be prosperous all at the same time, man.
That's all you can do, man. But that accountability means everything. So that's a good thing on y'all part. And that's kind of what me and my wife do. We discuss our parenting strategies and some of the things that we're not doing as well as we'd like to. From time to time, it comes out, and we try to make sure we check at each other as well as ourselves. But we're really on the same page at this point about what needs to be done, what doesn't need to be done, what's right, what's wrong to do. So it's just about trying to stay in sync with with the children at the time, and making sure that again they feel loved, but they also get this rigidity that needs to be applied, and they get the discipline that needs to be applied, but they also get the love. And mix all of those things because they're not perfect. They're learning. They just got here. We've been doing this shit for years, decades.
Right.
They just got here, so they try to learn, and they're gonna learn from us.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, before we get out of here, for those that may be interested, just like you, Kev, about the quiz that I took, it's a really short quiz. I think it was maybe less than 20 questions. It's at psychcentral.com. That's PSYCH central.com, and simply just type in parenting style quiz, and just kind of get an insight of how you do things, and just kind of diagnose kind of your own style and compare it to your significant other, your wife, others that are parents, and kind of see where you guys fall on the scale. But as always, you can reach us on Twitter at Fatherhood News, and Instagram at the Fatherhood Village. But yeah, man, we're trying to push this message forward. Continue to show your love, your support, share our content, and in every way that you can. So, any last words you wanna speak of, Kip?
Hey man, just continue to give a damn, man. Give a damn about how you do this father shit, not just that you're there, not just that you're paying money. Give a damn about the way you talk to your kids, the way you talk with your kids, the way you get to know them, the way they get to know you, what you offer them, and what you teach them to offer the world. Just give a damn, brother.
That's right. That's right. But hey, that's another episode down, man. I'm Dale Holloway. That's Kev Hick. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Peace and love.